Just gotta press the button, and
You
we're
just
back.
gotta go and just go. Oh my God.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is.
Welcome back, everybody. Podcast and Chill Show.
What is happening, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the podcast and chill show, the best podcast show
You never heard of until
never heard until
right now. My main man, Christopher Bernard. What's going on?
Neil Quinto.
Yes,
it is
sir.
so good to see you.
Great to
feel like-
see you. Great to be back on the horse again.
Yes, I know.
Podcasting.
There was a bit of
We're like really past the thick of summer, right? Like almost mid-August here.
I
Where did it go?
know. And like, so you're noticing how fast time is moving right now.
Yeah, especially when like March, April, May were like felt like an eternity.
Yes.
Felt really long, right?
Yeah, because when March was around, you're thinking about the year just started. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
2020.
And it's funny, we were like saying, oh, the year's over already. Looking forward to 2021. We were at Costco today and I'm like, 2021 calendars are already out. It's like people want to scrap this year already.
That's the thing. I'm not done with this year. I still feel like, you know what, the best is still yet to come in this year, and it's still moving along at its own pace. Like I think people are in a rush to get rid of this year, but this is one of those years you're gonna look back on like, wow. Maybe like, oh,
remember that?
yeah, like, wow, jeez. I don't know. That's my.
I mean, frankly, it's not over yet, right?
No, we're just past halfway. Actually, well, no, we're we're a little past halfway through the year, but it's still hot.
It's still happening. There's still a lot to be done. And actually, we should have tried to do the show with full masks. Because, where we live, Hamilton, we're into phase 3. Masks are mandatory now. I mean, businesses can refuse your service.
Yes, this is an interesting turn of event because we were talking about sort of the World Health Organization and their stance on masks way back in March, and how they were ineffective, and now things have changed. Now they're very effective apparently, and they're mandatory for service. It's like no shoes, no shirt, no mask.
No service. Yeah, exactly. And you summed it up last episode where you said, pretty much I just don't want to be, refuse service. So it's more that than it's, your thoughts of preventative and.
Yes.
It's just, you don't want to be ridiculed.
Exactly. That's why you're doing it, because you're like, okay, this is the.
Like I've only seen one lady rushed into the store with her son. They kind of just covered their mouths like with their shirts. They knew, they were very conscious. They were like,
wow.
When they look at you and you're not really, they're really paying attention to their surroundings and they look suspicious. And it's like, they just didn't have masks. I'm like, well, whatever. Everyone else has it. So they were being conscious about it. Like in that they were moving very quickly. So they want to get what they had to get and like check out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's that whole like mob mentality. I got to do it. Right. So now it's going to be the new norm. And I remember years ago looking back and thinking about, the Chinese population when people would wear masks and they said, terrible pollution, or even you'd see an Asian person here wearing a mask. And you're like,
yeah, that was it. That always threw me.
Because your mind doesn't go to like, oh, maybe they're sick and they're like, they have respiratory issues, but maybe now they're like ahead of their time.
Yes, I thought
now we have to do it. I'm like, oh my god.
Exactly. Everyone was looking at the Chinese, saying like, why they got to wear masks all the time. I was like, well, we do too now, for a very different reason. That's crazy how it just kind of shifted.
Yeah, it's like it's amazing how quickly something can be like mandatory.
Yeah.
I mean, just to look back a couple months, our dialogue, what we were talking about, and like now it's kind of past that. And I just read on Twitter that New Zealand is 100 days without any cases, which is pretty phenomenal. I wonder if you have to be on an island isolated like that to accomplish that, but who knows?
To get those numbers.
Yes.
Do we know what our Ontario numbers are?
I can check. Hamilton's been doing very well.
Yes, and I feel like Ontario has been doing well on a whole, and our numbers are very low.
You want the Canada numbers, or you want the
either? I'm curious. I'm curious, and it's I mean, I usually shy away from all that news, but now that we're having this conversation, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Well, where are we in relation to that nice island that we could be on?
Today, it looks like there were 320 reported, 120,000 confirmed, 104,000 recovered, 81 deaths. This is Canada. And in Ontario, it's 2,786 deaths, 40,000 confirmed with 36,000 recovered.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's it. I mean, it is what it is. I actually don't hear too much now. It's vaccines, companies going through with vaccines without testing phases. I heard something like that.
Interesting. And then, interesting.
Whatever, we're plowing through.
Like, it's untested, but you know what? We're going to go for it. And it'll be interesting to see in the future if there's a lot of class action suits.
You can't in the States see, and this was Judy Minkovich, who's a scientist. She's the one that outed Fauci and basically all the organizing bodies, the WHO, saying that they've known about different vaccines, cancer cures in the past, things like that, and they've just been covering them up. Very controversial interviews with Brian Rose, London Real. She had another one with another fellow I didn't know. But YouTube basically blocks out any the Dr. Judy Minkovich's medical works and interviews. And they raised a good point, which is somewhere in, I can't remember, it was late 90s, early 2000s, maybe earlier than that. They passed into law in the States that you could not sue pharmaceutical companies for the ill effects of a vaccine. So they basically have carte blanche, right?
Wow.
And that was the rise and the spike of pharmaceutical sales and profitability.
Because they didn't have to worry about litigation. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So it's done under the guise of your health. And now they have the blanket security or insurance that they can't be sued.
Wow.
So
that is
if these drug companies are going forward with it,
I guess we won't.
I mean, there's no repercussion, so why not?
Who's now who's policing this whole thing? Interesting.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what people report. So two questions. Do you believe that you can contract it spatially, like through breathing? And number two, do you believe you can contract it by touching surfaces?
Just breathing. I'm not an expert by any stretch. I'm not up on the latest news, but in my experience, I would say no.
If so few people are getting it now compared to when it started.
Yeah.
How are they getting it? The ones that do get it?
That's what I don't really fully understand, because the whole surfaces thing was a big issue in the beginning. That's kind of fallen away now. It's like, it's more like contact and close proximity, which is why it's social distancing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, well, you still don't hear reported cases saying you come in contact and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, they've got all the framework to track that sort of thing about who you've been in contact with, and the whole app situation is there, and the self-quarantine if you're leaving the country or that. Like, these measures are in place and they seem legit. uh, but at the same time, I'm not hearing a lot about how it's being spread. Actually, I did read today article about kids or I guess carriers or something like that. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I thought, well, are they just doing this because it's back to school time and they just
Yeah,
want to publish this and somebody's
buzzwords, timing. Yeah,
interesting. This is very,
August is always back to school, right?
yeah, exactly. What an interesting article to kind of publish. To kind of just, I mean, everybody's got to be careful. Yes, you got to be careful. You got to be cautious. You got to be mindful. But I just felt that was a bit reckless. I'm like, everybody is concentrating on their health and safety and getting kids back to a normal routine. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention who it was a reputable news
Source. Okay.
source that kind of published this. And I was kind of like, what was your reasoning for the timing of this article? Because you could have done this in March. You could have done it in April, May.
Because following the Ministry of Education announcement last, I guess it was Thursday, full tilt, every elementary kids back to school, high school half and half. Probably that's what it was. It's like, okay, that's out there. There's opinions. A lot of people don't like it. Not everybody's gonna love it, obviously. And yeah, let's couple it up with this news that kids are carriers, right? Irrespective of what I believe, just go with the preventative, which was my take before. I always washed my hands. I always actually brought my own baby wipes and wiped the grocery cart handles down myself, anyways.
Well done. Well done. Look at you.
But I do have like a germaphobe. I've always been like I smell my hands, wash my hands a lot. But I did notice that now I was conscious of it. Like what I was doing subconsciously, washing hands, like wiping stuff.
Yeah, you're just more cognizant of those
fist bumps and elbows, like to touch things. I use my knuckle to like if I had to use the debit machine. Yeah. Irrespective of what I believe, I always like do whatever preventative I can.
So what do you think about how schools what do you think about the plan?
I think no matter what they released, teachers in general will not come to agree. Someone would have found, like anyone in the public really would have found a way to tear away at the plan. No one's going to be completely happy with it. In other words, I don't know. See, my kid's not in school, so it's hard to have an opinion stapled with like experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just an outsider. But yeah, we all got to go back. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not discounting teachers' opinions, but frankly, there's not going to be a general consensus of what to do that's correct, and nobody's going to be happy about it, right? So, but the reality is, in the future, eventually we all have to go back to doing what we need to do. And I do have a good friend who is a teacher, and he, as how do I say it? He can be subjective, obviously, because it's his profession, it's his field. But he feels like everybody's got to go back to school for the economy to start, thriving, rolling again. Just get back.
Interesting. And I'm curious, did he have an opinion on sort of the long-term effects of this new structure? I'm just curious of how the structure is going to impact learning.
He actually predicted, if I can remember, we met up for lunch, and he predicted what they actually rolled out. But he thought that they should use the high schools. Like if you give high school kids half days, utilize the high schools and the extra classroom space for elementary school kids on the days that they're off.
Oh,
to help with that, like if you're splitting classrooms in two, high school kids are going to do more online than use their facilities to.
Oh,
Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant. I'm like, okay, great, make use of that. So
Yeah, make use of that space. Interesting.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I'm in favor. And the kids got to go back. I get it, and I think from what I understand, the concerns by the teachers are how are they going to police? How are they going to monitor these kids? If a kid sneezes, do you send them home? Like,
Yeah.
of course, like not everything's going to be thought out. The plan actually has to be learned while it's incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I mean, everybody has to work, right?
That's right. It'll be interesting to see come flu season how this
Yeah.
all sort of works. In that, if a kid does, present some symptoms that look like COVID but aren't, just because of the time of year, what will happen then?
Right.
Is it self-isolation again for the kid and the family? Does it just snowball really quickly? How does that? I'll be interested to see how it all works out for this time of year.
What was it called before? Mass, where the concept is like everybody just get it and get it over with. I forgot what it's called.
Uh, herd immunity.
Herd immunity.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. It just
Like I think eventually that's going to win out. Frankly,
what though? Like the reason.
well, we just said the numbers.
Yeah, that's
How
true.
many recovered out of 40,000?
That
Like,
is true.
how are you going to know that if you don't like go for it, so to speak? And I'm not trying to be cavalier or cowboy. 36,279 out of 40,046. 2786 passed away. Are you going to stop that? It's, I don't know. But that's a youth thing. Like, I'm not saying I'm young, but
Here you are.
okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
people are going to disagree. Like, there's no number that's too old. In other words, there'd be like no spare no life. Like, but like, how can you live like that? I just don't
Yeah.
understand. Society cannot operate like that. And frontline people are not the only ones that should be obligated to go back and work and operate because it's your job. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you chose that, so you should be going. Like,
Good point.
so do people that don't have non-essential frontline work. Like, I don't know.
But I'm hearing a lot about people that are perfectly fine to return to work and just choosing
Not to.
not to, or saying that I'm uncomfortable with that whole thing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. There's the guise of like, they just don't want to go back to work. Like, they like the new lifestyle.
they do.
Yeah, fine, I get it. Right? Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think people have made that nice transition. It's like, no, now I've got a taste of what it could be. I don't want to go back.
Like, look, if you were already on the fringe, like with your job, if you were like on the fence already, like, I don't like it. I don't love it. It stresses me out. And now I have the, availability, the option of working from home, not in front of my supervisors, not with coworkers who I don't care for, not in a toxic environment, not like whatever. Operate at your own pace now.
Yeah.
And now you got more freedoms. You cannot deny that. Nobody in the work from home situation is more productive. I truly believe that. Like,
yeah,
because the
interesting.
environment is not there.
Right, because
Like, just being around other hardworking people that have to be working, like that environment is always going to be more productive than independent study, independent work. Like,
right. You gotta be real diligent to and have that self discipline to like, and
yeah, just taking that element of I don't care. Like, when you're at work, you're always like, oh, who's watching me? Just taking that element out, like the foot is off the gas.
it's like I can go at my own pace. I got The boss looking over his shoulder.
I got a dress shirt and tie, but I have like shorts, pajamas on the.
That's true. That's right. Just showing up to these Zoom meetings like, yeah, hey, what's up?
That's great.
I'm only half dressed.
Yeah.
And I didn't brush.
Yeah, exactly. Like perception, just create the perception that you were always on. I know people, I leave my laptop logged in all day. I'm like, come on. Stuff like that. Like there's tricks to it, obviously. People know. Yeah. And they're doing that when they're at work. So
yeah, that's actually true. They were always doing it. Now they're getting lazy about it.
Oh, like
that's hilarious.
People work harder at like appearing to be busy.
that is a job in itself, to appear to look
like busy. It takes the same amount of energy. You know how they say it takes the same amount of muscles in your body to smile as it is to frown.
Yeah.
Liars, people with addiction, they work equally hard at like hiding their situation. Well, if you work just as hard on like positive things,
that's right.
Productive things,
you're gonna put forth the effort. Might as well be positive.
Yeah, it's just human nature.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't. It's so true.
Like in sports, when an athlete signs an extension, he's never going to play that good again. So like a rookie contract's like 3-4 years. So they're going to play great in the third year. They're going to get the extension in the fourth year. Little bit of pep in the step at the beginning, but after that, you're not going to see the magic anymore. There's no incentive.
That's it. They've gotten complacent.
It's human nature. That's why I can't stand. I can't even watch anymore.
Oh man! Wait, have they brought anything back yet? I didn't even look.
Yeah, everything's back except football, which is just off season.
Yeah.
But Major League Sports, I mean, there were like 17 cases of the Miami baseball team. There were a bunch of opening days canceled. The Blue Jays can't even play in Toronto. They were denied playing games in Pittsburgh, so I don't even know what they're going to. Oh, they're playing in Buffalo. Their home games.
Oh, wow.
The NBA is in a bubble. They seem to have the most success. All of their games are in Orlando, and I think there's only a couple of arenas, but half and half of the teams that were invited to come back are living in 2 or 3 different compounds within the Disney. I don't know what they have there. And they can't bring in family. As the stages progress, they're supposedly allowed to have family and stuff like that, but it's strictly the team, and that's it. The team, the staff, and the arenas are empty. They have digital fans. It's interesting. Have you seen it yet?
Digital fans?
Yeah, so they just kind of CGI the background. And certain teams have different protocol, but if you're a fan, you can log in your avatar or a picture of picture of me, and then they'll put it in the stands just to create an atmosphere. They play crowd music and cheering. It's not the same though. It looks so empty.
Really? That's so weird. Yeah. That's weird.
And hockey is in a preliminary opt-in. If they win, they're in scenario. It's only in Toronto and Edmonton. And actually Toronto's done a really nice job. The way they covered the seats and they put giant monitors. So actually, to me, that atmosphere hasn't been affected as much. Because when you look at the NBA, it's 3 or 4, 5 rows separated and elevated. So you can see all the players on the bench they pretty much take quite a, they don't sit side by side anymore. They have to wear masks and they're kind of staggered. But hockey looks pretty much the same, except you don't see the crowd.
Okay, because we're probably geared up. Interesting. Now, are you noticing the scores? Are the scores higher?
I just said actually today, would it be weird, really not playing for anyone in front of you? So there it is again. These guys love the adrenaline rush and even the booze and the cheers.
Yeah.
I'm like, the emptiness of the basketball arena makes it look like they're not trying as hard. And I didn't even think they tried hard to begin with.
Oh my God, that's
yeah, they're the guiltiest. Like playoffs and that's it.
Interesting. Oh my God. Okay, see now I got it. Now I want to know. Now
It looks so empty. Like you could hear crickets and echoes. But on hockey, because it's like the skating, the sticks, the echo.
You hear that? Yeah.
It seems like the same thing. And then in the NBA, they play. You can just there's no crowd, but you hear crowd music.
No, it's not the same. That's not the same, is it?
No, you can't. So NFL, like I said, this is their demise. It's the reason why they're king in North America is the scale and the size and like the dynamic of the game. And now they can't do that. Like you can't have all those fans. You can't have 60 players on the bench. Like how the hell do you what the logistics would be a complete nightmare.
Wow.
60 players, 6 feet apart. The field's only 100 wide.
You do the math.
Yeah, just the math is already.
The math, you're right. Carry the two.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
You now need like 3 football fields.
Yeah. Just for everyone to be seated. Here we go.
Okay, they're already complaining about the length of the games is going to be like twice as long now. Like,
oh, God.
And the thing is, to me, they're just acting like business as usual come September. I'm like, it's gonna. Everybody just is like, no, it's gonna get canceled.
What'll be interesting is what they charge for Super Bowl spots.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like there should be a discount. I think
everything should be discounted.
Yeah, I think there should be like, well, usually that spot would run you a few mil, but
yeah,
we struggle.
Oh, so interestingly enough, I know everybody loves Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Okay, I love that. Like the guy's, he's phenomenal. His personality. I don't know how he does it. He's so relatable. Like his Instagram, he's a lovable guy, right?
Yeah.
Big, huge teddy bear. So he and his group of investors purchased the XFL, which went out of business. They were impacted by COVID. They had to cancel their season. So this was the brainchild of Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE.
Yeah.
And he did it like in 1999, 2000, like a long time ago, and it just didn't work out. They resurrected it last year. It went back and forth, bankruptcies, things like that, and COVID, they had to cancel it. And so in the middle of all this, $15 million he spent to purchase it with his group. And I keep telling him, like, this is the dumbest thing you could do. I'm like, he's just throwing his money away. And I love to read the comments. Like fans are like, oh, wow. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's going to work. I'm like, because you love the guy so much. You're so blinded that you can't see like, this is like a losing proposition right from the beginning. But that's his effect. I just can't. It's insane.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, this is the worst time to buy a franchise. I mean, it's literally up in the air whether you can even have spectators.
Wow. So did he reveal any plans for this? Like what
It was kind of supposed, I heard it was supposed to go to auction or something like that. The only stipulation was that Vince McMahon could not buy it back. Whatever happened, there was a falling out. And just before it went to auction, The Rock came forward and they bought it, at the 11th hour kind of deal.
That's so weird. Now I'm like, okay, what are they going to do with it?
Well, and then you're also competing against the NFL.
Yeah. And CFL.
Yeah, okay.
XFL. See,
CFL's there. It's actually a phenomenal game. It's just they don't get the same marketing budget dollars. The American fans don't realize this, but that's what they want. They want the CFL style, the
Right.
fast, like how fast and high scoring it is. But it's just not their thing, so they'll never go for
Interesting.
it. But to buy a team, it's like buying a restaurant now. Like unless it's McDonald's, like he just bought like a sit down fine dining restaurant, like a Peruvian restaurant in the middle of London, England. Like it's something just like so obscure.
You spent a little too much on that.
Yeah, and it's so
wow. Well, so it cost him $50 million to buy this whole franchise. This whole business.
The whole league. Like, yeah.
15 million.
Yeah. There's guys in the NFL that make that playing.
I mean, like, so I don't know. So I'm curious to see who the highest paid XFL player is and what they're pulling in. We got like now you got to see. Now you got.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Now it's like, wait a minute. Okay, so the price tag is like nothing. So who's
standard contract is $1,040 a week, which is $54,000 a year. But they don't play all year. How is this? Like, come on.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. He must have some play. He must. Okay. He's gonna take that all online. That's got to just be converted to all just online or something or.
Yeah. There's probably got something like up his sleeve to do something completely different.
Yeah.
Still, like, you're still always competing against number one. So
well, off season, I guess. That's really, you got to shift the business model, right? You got to shift it to where your competitor isn't. So.
Yeah, it's a monopoly. Like, Pepsi has to, there has to be a market for Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like Coke to Pepsi.
Yeah.
Ford to General Motors. Like, whatever. There's always going to be a second. There should be a third.
Yeah. Because if CFL doesn't work out, it's like.
I talked to a buddy about marketing, and we always talked about like there's always the two front runners. Number one, number two is slightly different, but not quite as successful. It's clear who's one, it's clear who's two, and then there's usually a third.
That's
just there to like. Did you tell me this? That's just there to pick up the scraps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's how it goes.
Bell, Rogers, and Telus. Like.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think of another one that's just like.
Yeah, it's McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. Like, there's always a third. Like,
that's just like, hey,
KFC, Popeyes, and I was gonna say Louisiana. That's the same thing. Popeyes and
is there another? Oh, it would be Mary Brown's.
Mary
Brown's chicken.
Yeah, third. Just call it third chicken.
Wow, yeah.
Very proud. Oh, jeez. Tim Hortons, Starbucks. Second cup should be third cup. Is there Dunkin' Donuts here? There should be.
There should be. Unfortunately, it isn't, but there should be. I wish there was. There's actually a Krispy Kreme's, but there's like what, 2 of them, I think, in Ontario.
I only know the one in Mississauga. The one you and I went to was a donut shop that carried like Krispy Kreme.
Yes. Oh
But the only reason you'd go there is for Krispy Kreme.
yeah.
You're not going for like mom and pop.
Nah. I was trying to think of a third in the computer biz because you got the
Yeah, okay. Apple, Android, BlackBerry,
Android, and then I don't know. There isn't a third. It's just a two.
Well, I think of platform. I think of operating systems like Apple, Android. So I guess what's the biggest after?
It was BlackBerry, but
iPhones? What's the biggest after? Is it Samsung's?
I think so, yeah.
At least in North America. Once we get international,
yeah. And then the what's that one that's now like illegal? Not illegal, but
Huawei.
Yeah,
Illegal, like shunned.
yeah. Just the third, just like no.
Yep. Apple, Microsoft, and a lot of people that I know that are given work provided laptops have either IBM or
Mac.
what's the other one? Do they get Macs? A lot of people getting Macs from work.
It depends on the industry. I know if it's
or
more
Microsoft. Yeah. They
Yeah.
seem to get more of those.
Yeah, because it's just like they're less expensive. Let's face it, they are.
Yeah.
And
that has to be the only decision.
Yeah. I remember working. I was working at a Catholic school, and they had their audiovisual department, and they had a bunch of Mac computers that were very old, but they were running pretty current operating systems on there. So the hardware was what it was, but I was like, wow, these things have some longevity. And then fast forward to another situation where they were like the pretty recent IBM computers, but they weren't the greatest. They just like,
Yeah, like either you're old, out of date Mac, or like you're new, not the greatest.
There's a lot of cuts in funding, people. It ain't good. It ain't good.
It's like you got to wait 15 minutes for class to start because the computers are still warming up. Like,
yeah, I'm still booting up. Hold on, people. Recess.
Let's lunch. Let's go. Forget it. We'll leave them on, and then we'll reconvene.
Leave it on. Yeah, just leave it on logged in. It's fine.
So we went to Costco today, and the lineup was like literally around the building. I'm like, well, we're here. We had to pick some photos up, and we weren't gonna wait.
How long was that wait like to get in?
It really wasn't bad. Like the lineup looked like it was a half-hour wait, but I think we were under 15 minutes.
Okay.
And the beauty of it was when you got inside, it was a lot more spacious and more orderly. And so my wife says to me, she's like, I kind of like this system. I don't mind waiting outside if we get in. And it's like, and it feels like people also, not many like browsers. It was a lot of people that knew what they wanted and then they were out.
Business in and out.
Yeah. So I think the mindset, the whole style has changed. People don't want to linger around. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, if COVID is there, I'm not going to be hanging out there. The longer I'm there, the more likely I could get it. So I think they're right.
I think with it, because we are now in phase 3 officially, right?
Yep.
It's about 2
weeks now. I think. Yeah.
People have saw that benefit of the shopping experience. Like, you know what, it is what it is. The wait is what it is. We well, at least I go out knowing that I might have to wait 15 minutes up to 15 minutes going to Costco. I know I'm gonna have to wait.
Right.
But I know when I'm inside, I can breathe. I got the room. It's like, okay, this is this experience of Costco is a lot better than before for me anyway, because I got in quick, but I still ended up waiting and trying to get through the crowds. And I didn't enjoy that. I did not enjoy that. So I got to say, I'm on board with the handling of customer traffic now. It just feels like a better shopping experience. Do I want to go more frequently? No. Do I enjoy when I go? Yes, I do. Like,
Yeah.
I hope
I
that
think people are going less frequently too.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
before you were like, I'll go to the grocery store just to get a couple of things. Now you're like, once a week, let's get it all now. And I'm not coming back. Yeah, because
exactly.
I'm not standing in. Wait till it's winter.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be. Yeah. Wait till Christmas shopping happens.
I think all of that's going to be down, less gatherings. Like even if they say 50, like it's going to be your closest family and that's it.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's. Yeah. Right now we're at what 20 or are we at 10? What are we at?
Which,
How many people can gather?
well, gathering, I think 50. Yeah,
We
50 on an indoor and then 100 with like a outside covering. Like at the big ones. Like in a home, well,
yeah.
it's 50 at a banquet hall. I guess it could be 50 in your house,
Oh, okay. Oh.
I suppose. But yeah, that's a good point. I bet there's some people that like Christmas, it's not the best time for some people, the people that get depressed over it, or, because it makes you reflect on your finances and giving and
Yeah.
like, yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna get canceled. Oh, that's too bad. Like, yes, yeah.
Oh, I keep getting. Are you gonna enjoy Christmas this year? And I'm like, I am. I'm gonna
Maybe more so.
even more so. Yes, that's
You don't
right.
have to come up with the excuse of like, I can't get over that. We can't like we should be safe. Be safe. I don't want to get you sick at Christmas. No.
Right, that's right. Exactly. I don't want anybody to sing at Christmas. So yeah, I think more people will enjoy Christmas this year.
I think so, yeah.
The way things are, just the way they're going to be.
Back to
Yeah,
basics, back to, less commercialized.
yeah, yeah. And I think right now with this beautiful weather we're having, and the transitioning to fall, people just want to enjoy some of that before they know it's kind of like the lockdown is coming. Like this phase 3, there's that calm before the storm.
I think so, yeah. We keep saying it.
Yeah.
Like I certainly have been outside more this year than in the past.
Oh,
Because,
oh
it's kind of the only thing you can do.
yes.
A lot of it's like free and active. Riding bikes, like Tristan's riding a bike like crazy now. Where like a couple weeks ago it was, like, oh, it's gonna take some time. Like, but now it's like we got to slow him down because he's so far ahead of.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so do you use that to tire him out? You're like, okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because he enjoys it and we're active. Like, there's nothing like negative about it, really, right?
Yeah, that was amazing.
We got to enjoy it while it lasts. Before
Yeah.
they do this and that. But it's been a difficult conversation to say, like, like I know parks are open, but we're not comfortable with him like going and
The parts.
yeah. So we're like, well, let's keep riding, and he just loves it. So thankfully,
Oh, that's amazing. That's good. At least he gets that.
uh-huh.
At least he gets that. That's so good.
I
And so we're
yeah,
how many
you guys.
days until due date?
Oh yeah. So my wife went in for a checkup last week, and we're mid September. September, geez, 19th I think was our due date. But now it's sounding like it's gonna be. We really feel like it's gonna be first week, maybe Labor Day weekend. Because everything's gone so fast, and like
Yeah.
and Tristan was early, so we're expecting to be early again. Anyway, we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? You ready?
Oh yeah, now it's like now you really like the first up until now has been like just wait, but you have time. Now it's like okay, a couple weeks in, it's really happening, and it's just for me, it's been revisiting what we did the first time around and try to be better prepared. Like when you're in the hospital for 2.5 days, like you just don't know what to pack. And
Yeah.
now it's like you're even more limited.
Right.
I think I can go out and come back. They're back to that stage where before it was
Once you're in, you're in.
one relative you're in. If you go out, you're not coming back. So they'll screen people from coming, like they can go in and out. So that will certainly help. But yeah, you just don't know you're going to be like in a little
In that,
ottoman. You know, you don't have so many changes of clothes. I was starving, like, so I'm hoping to.
yeah. Damn. Okay.
As
So,
much as possible.
what is the biggest difference from this preparation to you? I mean, going in now that you know what you're looking. But for me, I think for the first time, I was obviously over prepared because you don't know, you don't know, and then second time around, it's like, yeah, this is.
Yeah, there's a lot of it'll be all right. Like, it's just knowing that the worst case scenario is not going to happen. You know, like you're not a total idiot.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like,
You know your way around the hospital, so you're not gonna get lost. You don't take the long.
yeah, that too. Like, okay, yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I think I understand that the staff attitudes are like that too, because they don't mind like not kicking you out the door, but you can go home the next day if everything's good.
Which is so good. Which because
I don't want to linger in there. Like,
it feels like a prison. You're just like, I just want to go. I just want to get out of here.
that's how I felt the first time. I was like, we could do a lot better if you just let us go home now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even comfortable, so I'm not at my best. Like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, same with your wife, like mom, like they just like, it's just not comfortable.
Yeah.
No matter what you bring.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. And so, do you have any rituals that you are going to do that you did or will do?
Oh, good question. I haven't thought of that.
Maybe you don't. Maybe it's I didn't, but I think back.
You could think about them now, probably.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I should have done that. But
Like,
so, a friend of mine, he wrote a letter. I think it was like
oh, cool.
hours after the birth. He sat and he wrote a letter, and then he was going to give it to his daughter, and he hadn't done it yet. But he's like, "I want you to turn 16 or something," and he gave her a letter. I'm like,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I know. Like, wow, that's just describing the day. Nothing. Well, I guess he told me a little bit. Was talking about the day, how he felt, what was going on.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's really cool. Guess I wish I had done. But at the second kid, I didn't want to do it for the second kid, and then the first kid.
Because you didn't do it for the first.
And I was like, I can't. That's a good idea, but
I took pictures in them after he was born, like after, and I'll do it again. I don't know if that was. I imagine the staff was used to it by then.
Oh, no, they're probably like,
there's millennials that had babies before me. And, you know, it's just
millennials that yeah, that's right.
Right? It's just like whatever. He's just another one of those. So, but you know what? They're your keepsake. Like I showed Tristan the other day. I'm like, want to see a picture when you were first born? And like, I don't know if he gets it, but it's like that's you when you were a baby. So now he kind of talks about it because a baby's coming, but I don't know if he knew that before we were pregnant.
Yeah,
you could show him, but like, I question his understanding. Like,
yeah.
I have pictures when my mom and my mother-in-law first saw him. First pictures them together. Like I love that. I love the fact that I have that. So yeah, if there's traditions, I would. Yeah, I'm documenting as much as I can.
That's beautiful. That is so nice.
Like why not?
Yeah. Did you do the handprint?
At the hospital, or I guess we have something like that. Yeah, but I can't remember if we did it there.
Yeah, we did ours kind of late. The handprint kind of got, we're like, oh yeah, we forgot about that. Yeah, exactly.
You end up doing, yeah. There's plenty of things you end up doing.
Exactly.
But there are parents that are that thoughtful. You know what I mean? They have it in their mind. They have a
Oh
system.
yeah, they're on it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's awesome. But
I
I'm
know. Like, good for you. That is good. That is fantastic. I wish I had thought about. I wish I had been more together to get that ready for my kid, but I wasn't.
yeah. I will do. I think we're gonna do a newborn photo shoot. You know, when they put them like in little things.
All the poses and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Kind of Ann Getty style.
Yes.
I mean, we did it
Oh,
for Tristan, so we're gonna try to do it for um,
that's beautiful.
newborn.
That's beautiful. That is nice.
But I don't think we're gonna do anything uniquely different this time. The room's pretty much ready.
Oh wow. Wow.
We have a lot of stuff from before, like that didn't expire. So that see, all those things make you more confident about uh, being prepared.
Yeah.
So there is some nervousness, but it's not like scared to death.
Yeah. 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 It's just more like concern for everybody, making sure everybody's okay, but not. It's all gonna just fall apart.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have the, you know, when you know, you over prepare, you over buy stuff. You're like, oh yeah, we got the change table, we got this. I'm like, now I'm like the change tables. Wow, what a racket!
I know.
We're
I
changing
know. There's a change
wherever.
table in there.
Yeah,
You get that change table. Where did you end up changing,
on the
Tristan?
bed, on the couch.
Everywhere else but
Everywhere.
the table.
Yeah, like because you're like, I'm gonna go all the way over there to put them on that thing. Like,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of stuff like that that when you're a first parent, you think you
No,
need,
no clue. No idea.
and the baby's like,
I know. There's like, someone tells you need it. You need that table to change them on. There's nothing else. No other surface will do but that table.
yeah, wherever I am, I'm gonna go all the way to that table just because. And you don't realize how much like newborn diapers, like they wear them at the hospital, but by the time like they grow so fast, and clothing, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh my
newborn
god. I know those
clothing
are
is pretty
funny. Like
much a waste.
size one. Like what the
Yeah.
hell?
It's like they skip stages of like, oh, they didn't even wear us 3 months. We were right into 6. Like,
Yeah. Those growth spurts just come and you're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
yeah. So
Oh my
it's an
gosh.
interesting industry.
Wow.
'Cause-
So did you have to do any dry runs just to? Are you? But you or are you confident? Like no.
oh yeah. Well, now I'm not
Okay.
overly
I
concerned.
just I asked because of I forget about the new protocols for going to hospital and that sort of thing. So
Right.
I don't know what's different and if you have to like
Oh, okay.
practice or whatever.
That was the only concern back a couple months ago, but now it's like if all through COVID I'd heard that all these babies being born had it, then yeah, like you think differently and you're terrified for the day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're pretty cautious, and I feel like when baby's here, we can relax some of the things as well. Like I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. Man,
You
I'm just
know.
excited. I'm excited for you because
Oh, thank you.
I mean, 2 kids is it's not one kid. It's two. It's just very different.
That's what is gonna hit me is,
There's another one that's running around there.
that's right. Like, how's the just Tristan gonna be? We talked about, okay, there's gonna be jealousy at some point. How do you deal with that, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. It's
But we're trying, like I said, I try. It's like we need to integrate him in as much as possible and make him feel special because he's the big brother. Like he's in this with us just as much.
that's right.
And I think I see people make an effort, parents make an effort to do things with their oldest still alone, like just daddy and oldest, just mommy and oldest.
Yeah.
So they still have that. So that was an
Yes.
interesting thing that was brought up from a number of parents, and I'm like, okay, we'll be conscious about doing that.
Yes. So did you experience that?
Myself?
Yeah.
I can't remember really. I was an only child for almost 5 years before my brother was born.
But you do remember his presence. Things are different.
If I think hard enough, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's because I'm second. I got an older sister, and then there's 5 years between my brother and I. So
Right. Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting being the second because you're not the first. So there's always an awareness of there's somebody else. And then when somebody else comes along, you're like, there's another motherfucker coming around. Like, what is? It's a very different awareness growing up. So because Chantal's like, oh, we're gonna do the just Kenza and us thing, and I was kind of like, wait,
Mm,
what? I didn't know. I had no idea because that wasn't a thing for me, and I didn't
right.
have that perception of, oh yeah, I guess this is going to be different for you. This is going to be a very tough experience. I mean, I know what it's like when another sibling comes along and mommy and daddy aren't paying attention to you, but I was always like, there's somebody else, and I always got to share the attention.
That's just it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Learn
Yeah, it's culture too, and it's timing. Like I'm sure back then they didn't. They're like, whatever. You're first. You're second. You're third. Like we're not separating two out of the three, so you can have your shit. Like
so you can feel special? Nah.
yeah, yeah. And in a sense, I'm like, okay, we'll do a little bit of that, but I don't want to break up. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do two activities just so the other kid, like, whatever. We're all in it together. That's the way it is. That's like,
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I
immigrants
love you. We just
yeah,
gotta get used to it. We just all here together. So
yeah.
just go
Like,
for
there's gonna be stuff we all hate going to. We're all in it to watch. The dance recital, the hockey game. Like, what I mean? Like, that's when my wife, like, her brother had to go to her dance recitals, and she had to go to his hockey. So
it.
it
You
was
got the support, right? It was family support.
that's it. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. I remember showing up to them things like, oh man, how long?
How long? I just got here.
Stuck early. Go get some-
So let's shift gears to. There's one article in particular you shared, and that is, well, go ahead, Netflix.
Yes, this was like a big uh, shift bomb drop. It was
Cool.
Netflix said, "Okay, Canada, send us your stuff." Basically, we're open submission. We're looking for original content and animation, original stuff in TV, film, and huge game changer. Huge game changer. Right? So it was about 2.5 weeks ago when they first made an announcement, and it just I got messages the day that it was so actually the day before I was with a friend and he was talking about how Netflix is just like a juggernaut. And I was like, yeah, they just are doing everything right. They're just
Mm-hmm.
incredible what they're doing. And then the next day, the news dropped like, hey, Canada, like, come and submit. And so I started getting a lot of people saying, hey, you see this? Well, of course I see. Like, this is Netflix. Like, they're not going to make a move. They're $1 billion company, and they're just looking for content. So just to kind of give some context, like in Canada, there's a handful of broadcasters or companies that can greenlight a project and actually fund it. So if Canada has very certain tastes, and
Mm-hmm.
in the media now, actually, Telefilm Canada, there's actually a few big companies that are kind of getting backlash over discrimination over funding, and
Right.
saying that in the
Lack
years
of diversity.
Yeah, lack of diversity. It's saying like in the years of X amount of years, there's been very little money to fund projects from people of color and diverse groups, that sort of thing. And so they've come under fire pretty recently, telefilm specifically, and there's been like cabinet shuffles and that whole thing. But for someone, a content creator like myself, um, when you approach the Canadian market and they say no, there's not really anywhere else you can go because the U.S. is like, well, we got our own stuff. Like if you can get through, you can get through, and it's kind of like a Hail Mary. So Netflix saying we're opening our gates, come on in, send us what you got, forces Canada to kind of step their game up.
Okay.
So
follow suit.
Oh yeah, follow suit. So what sort of the reaction to that has been more initiatives from the bigger broadcasters and production companies looking for content actively saying, hey, okay, submit to us too. So it's kind of like I'm watching all this and I'm thinking in, let's say, 2-3 years, when you look at Netflix, you're going to see a lot of Canadian content.
Oh, wow.
Which you're going to probably subscribe to now that they're investing into Canadian market.
On the Canadian version of Netflix, or just internationally across the board, everything. If it's it goes across the board.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're looking for things that are more universal, so across the board.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
So then, what does that do to Canadian television, the landscape of Canadian television? Now that I don't. Not that I don't need it, but now when I go to Netflix, I have more options that are more appealing to me, which means these broadcasters and the old guards of the industry are, well, they have to make a change or they're going to be out of the game, right? Because have you seen an episode of Murdoch Mystery?
I have not. No.
Okay, that's like one of Canada's longest running shows. And it's a good show, right? But it's the period piece. It's about yeah, it's like a Sherlock type dude, and he finds out
it's English.
Yeah, English, and it's a great show.
Caucasian actors.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah, and they get once in a while they have some some diversity in there. They do that.
And what's the era? Like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's like a Sherlock Holmes.
So how is that like pertinent to today? That's exactly your point. It's like, why is this show running for so long?
It's one of Canada's longest running,
and it's so disconnected for what the climate that
exactly right, but some of the top industry people in Canada work on this show and they keep it alive, and it's just this big thing for Canada. So it's kind of like a heritage thing where even though you and I, it's not in our demographic, we're not in their demographic, we're not going to watch the show. Millions are invested into to keep this thing alive, and it's Canada, and I'm like, well, okay, but it doesn't appeal to me, and the things that I'm interested in and want to see, I can't find, so I have to go elsewhere. Like I gotta go to Netflix, and for them to just step in and go, okay, just let's see what you got. It means
why would they keep it running year after year after year?
That's just a legacy brand now. That you've never heard.
As it ages, so does their viewers.
Yeah, that's the other interesting thing that I've noticed. Netflix, the way Netflix is consumed versus the way broadcasters, the old model, right? So Netflix has forced Canada. This is totally my opinion. Netflix has forced Canada to get better content. It's like
everybody, frankly. But yeah, okay. As a pertains,
it's like Canada, you've been slacking. Like you've just been slacking this whole time, and Now
We're always slow to innovate, slow to adapt.
innovate. Now they got to play catch up, which kind of sucks because
But they won't. It's not going to be like Netflix would, but not the networks.
they are innovating. For them to come over to go, okay, U.S. is what it is. If anybody's been on Netflix recently, they'll see a lot of content from like Japan, a lot of content from India.
Mm-hmm.
They figured out that we just need this big catalog. They become the new TV. That becomes a new TV standard, right? Because if you think of the broadcast model, it was centered around advertising.
Yes, right.
Everything had to appeal to the advertisers.
Who's likely to watch at a certain time, subject matter.
They will watch Murdoch Mysteries.
Right.
My demographic watches Murdoch Mysteries. This is great, but Netflix is like, well, we have subscriptions, so we don't need to worry about advertisers.
Okay,
We've got subscription based, so we are funding. We're making our own content. The research, the data that they have, the big data that they have of what's popular. It's going to be very easy for them to sift through Canadian content and go, this project is perfect for our demographic that we have because of the data that we have, and we can tailor this to what we already have. So you'll see a quicker turnaround, a quicker shift, a quicker change in that content that Netflix brings you versus the Canadian content model, the old model that has, again, in response to Netflix, has opened their doors and said, we want content too, but it's still not really, it's not subscription based. It's still very much an advertiser driven industry, right? So even though this is great, Bell Media has opened up their doors, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna submit to these things because, hey, who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking 5 years out when they're like, okay, this is the new direction, this is the new company direction, and they make this big gamble investing their money into something new, and it doesn't pan out because it's still on their old model. They're going to see, well, yeah, we tried and it failed, and so we're going to go back to more Murdoch Mysteries. Sure, like I get it, and I get it. That's the system. That's what it is. But there's just no sustainability in that.
Right.
So I'm thinking again, once this content gets made, 3-5 years from now, Canada, the Canadian industry, the film industry is going to be suffering a little bit more so than it is now with the lack of diversity, with the lack of support, and it's kind of ripe for Netflix to reach in and go, okay, well, we're big enough for a juggernaut. We can cherry pick and do a lot better. And with the YouTube platform, Canadians gotta figure out what they're gonna do. I don't know. It looks bleak.
No, you got to follow the money. All eyes and attention on the subscription model, right? Like
that's the new model.
It's insane. The IPTV, I've got hundreds of channels I have a hard time picking because the content's garbage, and I always go back to like oldies.
Right. That's right. That's right. And that's the other thing. I guess that the opposite side of the subscription model is that is where the business is. However, these subscription-based models need good content. Look at that Quibi. I don't know if you saw that Quibi.
Yeah.
The content hasn't really drawn a lot of people, and this was sort of that prime time to do that because COVID hit, so you're homebound. Your attention needs to be on something else. So again, this is my opinion. I looked at Quibi and I was like, this is perfect opportunity for you guys to get the eyes, get the attention, and
Okay.
launch that, make that the mobile Netflix or whatever it is that you wanted to do. But I was reading the reviews, and the reviews that came out were like, the content is weak, the content is soft, not enough content, not enough quality content. Sure, they had something like 30, 40 shows or something like that, but it really wasn't what people wanted, which is interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, they should, because Prime TV has done very well. Apple TV has done very well. Apple TV Plus.
Disney, yes. They'd made the shift because they had at least a few shows that were good content, and HBO was a great example of this when they first came onto the scene. Their shows were edgy. They were doing something different than broadcasters, and that the content, they only needed maybe 2-3 shows, and they were fortunate to get a handful of shows that were just iconic, and got the subscription because they were subscription based, got the subscription that they were after. But again, cable versus network TV, it's a very different game. And at the back of that is the advertisers and versus the subscription model, which we're all heading to.
Right. Yeah, we're still seeing the content better in the subscription model, and then they're hiring stars.
Exactly. Now I can hire a star who's been working on something.
Yeah.
And
doing that, like they kind of get the stars that are like semi-retired, so they'll come back for decent money, but they're certainly taking less than what they would have when they were the big draw.
Yes, that's right. But that went to the again, subscription model, because they know that, okay, this person has this amount of draw, so I can go to them and I don't have to pay them that huge salary, but I know they're bringing an audience, and this is good, and I'm not putting all my eggs in this one basket.
So let me put your whole theory into, what do they call it? Case study. The movies that have caught my attention lately have actually been Netflix movies. They're just so well done, and they're collaborating with like key people. One that we haven't finished, I think it's called Work It. It's the executive producer credit goes to Alicia Keys. It's a dance movie. It's kind of like a recreation of Save the Last Dance, if you remember Julia Stiles. And
wow, I'm really blown away.
I watched Fatal Affair. And it's as cheesy as you would think it is, but I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. It starred Omar Epps and Nia Long, Will Smith's former girlfriend on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So a little nostalgia, right? Like you're bringing actors of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And they were like, he had a crush on her in college. They hung out, never dated. She went on to marry her crush. And like fast forward 25 years later, she's a successful lawyer. He's a IT technologist, a hacker. And then he makes her life a living hell because they work together. Yeah, they work together. She's married now to her her college sweetheart.
Okay.
And he re-enters the picture by getting hired by her law firm, and he acts like it's a total coincidence, but he staged the whole thing, and he hacks their lives, and he tries to convince her to have an affair with him and leave her husband and this and that. And he's totally crazy, and he played it well. But it's predominantly, it's a black family, black actors. I don't know the producer writers on that, but the diversity is certainly there. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of their key releases, and it's a Netflix. It was a Netflix project. But you know what I mean? Like that's against the model of summer release date, heavy duty commercial ads, these actors going on late night TV and sitting on the panel to promote it, and you see them on, various events. This was, yeah,
it's a very
worked in
different
full effect.
approach, which I gotta say I do like. I appreciate this because it I've noticed, again, this is my observation. I love going to the theater. I love sitting in that theater with a bunch of people watching this thing in the big screen. I gotta say though, going there, a lot of the films that I wanted to see, I was like, no, I'm gonna wait to see that in the theater. We're the bigger budget, so I was
Yep.
going for the special effects.
Right.
So, like, I didn't even realize that. I was just kind of like, I'm going not for the story. It's like, yeah, the story is
You were going
what,
for the
yeah,
experience of the
but I
theater.
want to see it because I'm thinking of watching a certain visual effect on my TV at home, and I'm like, nah, it'd be cooler to see it bigger
And louder.
and louder, which is a terrible reason to go see anything.
I agree. Yeah. Just turn up the volume. I always joke. I'm like, because I don't buy vinyl or CDs. None of that my friends do. I'm like, I just turn the volume up on my laptop. What's quality? What? Save yourself the hassle of going to the store buying this
Just turn
relic.
it up. Turn it up. Just make it louder.
Oh, it's warmer. I'm like, I don't want warmth. I just want to hear the song and I'm out.
Yeah. So
That's good that you caught yourself. You just like got caught up in the smell of the popcorn.
that taste, that just, and I think I mentioned I that's one of the things I do miss since lockdown is going to the theater. I do miss that experience.
Yeah, how do you feel about that now?
No,
Now all I think is like, oh my gosh, I'm like basically sharing a couch that a guy used 3 hours before, farted in. He didn't wash his hands. Like, did he do laundry? Like, did he have lice in his hair? Like, now I'm like, I'm not going to a theater ever.
now they have $5 movies, but I'm like, because one of the movies, because I did say I was like, oh, I missed going to the movie theater, and I wanted to take my kid to the theater, and then one of the shows was Trolls World
Oh
Tour.
yeah. Sure, that would have been great.
I'm like, it would be so good to see it on a big screen, but I'm like, I could see it at home and not worry about COVID.
Can you imagine wearing a mask watching a movie?
I can't. I don't want to. Like, I was kind of on the fence with the whole 3D glasses thing. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to sit there with glasses on. I just want to watch the movie.
Glasses and a mask.
I gotta watch exactly. I gotta watch a 3D glasses.
So removed from reality now. You can't even watch with your own eyes. You can't breathe with your.
Exactly. I can't. I don't like what's happening. I don't like that at all. I don't exactly. I'm gonna put up. Okay. This is great. Wow. Did you see that? Hold on. I want something to eat.
Yeah, and you can eat the popcorn.
Different experience that I do not want. I don't want to experience.
Yeah,
But
ruined now.
yeah, going to the theaters to watch a movie that I know is gonna. Now that's my whole thing. I'm like, I got to do the research. Who wrote it? Who directed it? What is their track record? Now I need to know before I invest this time. Well, I mean, I've gone to theater, but that was my whole thing before.
Too many criteria now. See, you're just distancing yourself from the theater.
Because, I mean, every movie that makes it to the theater you would think, should be a good movie. Should be.
You've been fooled for years. You just realized it, didn't you? It should be. How many are truly good? How many are truly good?
Exactly. How many are true? That's the thing. A lot of people before this, if you ask them, like, What was the last movie you saw in theaters? I don't know. What?
Now
What?
people don't even know. That's how distant it is. What a
Well, it
shame.
wasn't a blockbuster. Like, tell me a movie you saw. Like, there wasn't a blockbuster. It's like, oh, I don't. Do they have anything that's not a blockbuster in the theater? Oh,
I'm trying to remember myself, and I think it was actually Skyfall, Bond. The only thing that was for me, it was like worth. I couldn't wait to see it. I couldn't, I was bootleg was not good enough.
see, that's when you know. You're like, when you have the option to see the bootleg, you're like, nah.
Nah, I get it. Yeah.
Immerse myself in that experience.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you. But now it's like, now you add all the social distancing PPE factors, and it's like, is it worth it anymore?
Well, and
Because that takes away from the experience.
exactly, the experience is changing, and I think Netflix is ahead of the curve on that. They know it's changing, and they've been a powerhouse for a while, and they're turning into well, they are a studio. They were just distribution before. That's how they were just
They had to pick up some good titles, but now they're creating their own.
Now they're creating their own, so they're closing the loop. This is what I think Canada hasn't really realized or got on board with. Like, it can't just be about distribution. It's got to be the whole process. We got to create and distribute, and once you can do those two things, then you pretty well have the market locked.
I think the lack of interest it's an indicator that they're not interested in going that route. They're acknowledging defeat.
Yes,
Change who they are now. Yeah, they're not going to go from leopard to elephant. It's you can't change what they're a victim of their own success, so to speak, and complacency. So now CBC is going to turn into a Netflix model. Like, you'll laugh at that the first time you see it because they'd already given it for free, and now they're going to charge.
Yeah,
your content. And here's the thing: it kind of goes against the grain of everything that they have to trump themselves. In other words, they have to have content that's better than what they give away for free. And like, if you think about the old heads that watch, Murdoch Mysteries, they're not going to pay for
exactly.
No matter how good you think you advertise that it is, or they think it is. You've already spoon fed them.
That's right. You gave me 16, I think 16, 15.
They have to rebrand or launch something else that belongs to them, but is like, just that, and then try to go for the younger crowd.
Yeah. Again, and if you're thinking long term,
like the people that don't know what CBC TV is, the young kids that don't, and they'll be like, "Oh, did you hear this Canflix? Oh, what's that?" Oh, it's CBC is opening Canadian Netflix. It's Canflix. So, like, you and I, who've known CBC, like, nah, whatever. They're not going to be a Netflix, but they might get like someone that didn't know, because you are what you are, right? Like, it's
exactly. And when their key demographic kind of passes on, that property, CBC or
who knows?
Whatever, will then be swallowed up by a Netflix-like company.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're going to go, well, we don't have the advertising dollars. We don't have that key demographic. So what do we do? Do we fold up this operation?
They'll just pray to get bought out by someone else.
Exactly.
It's true.
That has that exact, because all that content that CBC or any production or broadcaster has, that catalog have, that's what the next Netflix will be looking for. Like, okay, well, your demographic is gone, but you have all this content. Give it to us at this price, and we'll see you later. We got the subscribers that want to see this old content for whatever reason. Like, it's just...
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. They'll be valuable for the old stuff. But yeah.
Exactly. exactly. So really,
No, I think that then the time has passed, and I don't really see them turning the tide, so to speak. But it is federally funded too, so they do have a security net, and I think that's why they don't take risks because
yeah.
of
Well, yeah. That
so
is
you can't expect that anyways.
yeah, yeah. That
But
is,
like a CTV, City TV, and all this, they're all just going to become specialty channels. And like the way A&E, give them credit. Like they used to do documentaries, now they do like
I used to love
600-pound life and all this reality stuff. Like they actually they changed their content to stay relevant.
they had to do it.
Yeah.
They and fortunately they did to stay relevant, and hopefully we'll see some broadcasters do that here. Some stations do that here to stay relevant, stay with the times. But
I don't
we'll
know.
see.
Yeah, we'll see. But good luck. Like hopefully you find a channel within Netflix to start sharing your content because it would be incredible
Absolutely.
for you to get picked up. Like,
Uh, yeah.
what would your life be like? How
I
would your life
think.
change?
Well, I used to work for Blockbuster in the last days before they closed down, and it was because of Netflix.
To switch to the mailing system, or they started to do that, right?
They got up. They tried to do that way too late, and they tried to do an online thing too.
Yeah.
Way too late. They weren't ahead.
Well, they tried to do an online thing too. Okay, I thought they totally said no. We're sticking to our guns. This
Yeah,
Netflix.
no, just gonna, yeah, no. And I'm like, this is the second time in my lifespan, my experience, that Netflix has kind of just taken over. So I'm like, I should just let them take me over. I'm like, just take me over. It's fine. I'll go with you guys. I'll do what you want. Here's some content.
Join them. That's it.
I can't beat them clearly. So
So, okay, what would your role be? You got picked up, and how would your life change? What would your ideal dream be collaborating with Netflix?
that's a good question. It wouldn't. It actually wouldn't change
Come
too.
on.
No, it wouldn't. It would be. It wouldn't change as much as I think. The reason being because the process is so collaborative, and coming in as a writer, it's like a lot of the work is done. Like I'm not showing up on set. I'm not talking to the actors or anything. I'm in the meetings. Like, okay, this part of the story sucks. Fix it. Okay, and so that's me fixing it late. Just making a deadline. I don't think a lot would change with respect to um, what I do. I think it would change how people perceive me for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, you're
What
writing for a Netflix series. Like, tell us, for those who have no idea, what a meeting like that is like. Who show up? What's the setting? Is it like a boardroom meeting? Everybody, 12 writers are in there with the showrunner or whoever, and you're all collaborating. Is everybody pitch ideas, and then it's like, I like that, I don't like that. Like,
yeah,
all of
so
you go write everything over again. This is all crap. What is it like?
yeah, a little bit of all the above. It is now in COVID days. Now they do like the Zoom meetings, but
Okay.
typically it would be a bunch of people in a room, and depending on the show, like there's shows that they call them storyboard driven. So you have the showrunner and whoever happens to be directing that episode, a writer, a team of writers, and if it's a visual show, uh, key inspiration comes from the visual elements of that show.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this character, you saw the character do this, versus a show that is you're sitting with a bunch of writers and you're breaking a story, going, okay, here's the season one. This is what happens. The main let's take a regular show. Do a cop show because it's easy. Everyone does a cop show or a hospital show or whatever. You get your main character, and the first season in the cop show is about him establishing himself on the force and finding out his partner is working for the bad guys. He's actually, whatever.
Yeah.
So you would sit in that room and plot out each episode, and then once you're spitballing ideas, and it's literally like, I like that idea. No, I don't like that idea. And then once you got that structure, you divide the work between, how many writers there are. So if there's 12 writers, just 10 episodes, maybe not everybody gets an episode, right? So sometimes it's like that. They hire more writers than there are episodes, but...
So if you don't do an entire episode, what do you write? And how many writers will there be for a series?
Depends on the budget. So, and depends on the show.
Okay.
Some shows, I know that a lot of Shonda Rhimes shows, they have writers in the room that are specific to certain characters. So no matter what the episode, they always write for that character on that episode.
Okay, cool. So you can do that too.
Yeah, but some shows don't operate like that.
Sure.
Okay, this is your episode. You got to write that episode. You got to get a sense for everyone's voice, and then you got to produce, right? So it depends. It could be a team of 2 writers. It could be 12. It could be more. I know on comedy shows, on sketch comedy shows, like what is it? Saturday Night Live or Mad TV, there would be like 18 writers,
right?
Because they're just pitching jokes,
they're quick and
jokes,
right?
But only maybe a handful of those would actually get to write the skit or whatever.
Okay, right.
They're showing up to pitch, but they need so much content. But like a drama, there could be 10 writers, and each writer, they work together to break the story, but you were responsible for that individual episode, and then the showrunner or the senior editor who's running that room keeps track of all the stories, the storyline, all that. And so there's a hierarchy. Yeah, there's a hierarchy within that too. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, but people gotta butt heads.
Yeah, a lot of egos clash in that space, because you're presenting an idea, and everybody loves their ideas like children, which is why they say you gotta just kill your darlings, right? Writing, it's just an idea. It's like, it could be a good idea, it could be a bad idea. It's just an idea. It can't be attached to every idea. And you got to be like, yeah, sometimes my ideas are going to be crap, and allow yourself to, it's a crappy idea, but
right.
I can offer it. Somebody can help me or build on that idea. You know what I mean? So it is a lot of it is actually getting over yourself.
Sure.
And being like, I'm not the smartest person in the room, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm talented. Yeah, sure, I'm talented. I want to be here. I'm a great storyteller, but I'm not the smartest person, and that's fine. And a lot of if people can, I don't know. I say that, but it is a challenging concept to kind of accept and believe and trust.
Right.
And when you can do that, you let a lot of shit go. And it's like, man, I'm just here to make art. I'm just here to have fun and write and entertain. And it's not like, oh, my idea has to win. It's like, no.
Right.
This idea will, in service to the show,
yes.
That the idea should win, or should be developed.
So that's why winning formulas get repeated staff synchronicity, chemistry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actors work together all the time if they've had success. That's why it's easier for production like that when you have so much money invested to be like, well, let's just keep this team together and resurrect the franchise, or go in a different direction slightly, but use the same writer and producers and
a team that knows how to work with each
Is
other.
that why you see a lot of repeats in movies?
Yes, it is.
Like I noticed, like even like the character, the secondary, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way down to the what do you call them when they're not the main actors? The they just stand in the back. Like,
I'm thinking stand. I'm like, I'm not standing at the end. But yeah, I know.
Like, you know, like your fifth lead, sixth lead, seventh, like that
typical,
yeah, it's like, let's bring him in because he. I'm trying to think of a guy, and you know them by region too. Like movies in Boston always have this actor who plays.
Yeah, okay.
Token, you know, Boston accent, like you know, Harvard, Worcester,
yeah.
Park my car, have a bear garden. You know, those guys are always. I'm thinking of the one guy on Equalizer. I forgot. He's a cop, and then he's also in what's that movie about the gangster from Boston? And then
Johnny Depp is in there.
He's with Johnny Depp, and then the other one was with Denzel.
I know what you mean. But a lot of it is, the name's going to come to me, but a lot of it is
David Harbour.
Yes.
Do you know him?
Yes.
Like, so many, like, but he's always like in the Boston.
But like that's he's remembered
things. He's in.
You feel like
Equalizer. He's in Revolutionary Road. Yeah, Brokeback Mountain.
But you believe
they earn a reputation for being a certain guy, and then they constantly do.
But it keeps you in the story too, because you're like, oh yeah, that guy. And you have to think about, because a lot of I find this now when I'm watching something, and I'm like, I know them from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it slightly pulls me out of the story because I'm trying to remember, like, where else have I seen you?
Yeah. Or like even that Revolutionary Road, Titanic, and what else says like Kate Winslet and Leo. They'll keep that, like, okay, they had the on-screen chemistry. You know, 20 years later, they did Revolutionary Road. Their start was obviously whatchamacallit? Titanic. But then they'll do roles together all the time. Like they'll make cameos in like each other's.
Well, yeah,
absolutely. Like Scorsese will just always use the same, you know.
Because it's like
Favreau does it a lot too, right? Doesn't he always bring like the same?
Because he has fun. He's doing this for fun.
Yeah, he can count on his guys.
Exactly. He's working with his friends. Who among us doesn't want to work with friends? Like, I don't know.
Like that group of comedians too. Like, is it Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
Franco. What's it? James Franco.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express guys. Like then they'll always like Jonah Hill. Like they're always.
And then you can say to somebody, a financier, and go, okay, like, hey, my group of friends that did this, they want to do this now.
Yeah, like the Judd Apatow Mafia. You know, it's like they're always.
They're gonna go, yeah, absolutely. Here, you guys did awesome. Great, I know what to expect.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The audience knows what to expect.
And the audience actually, they were like, oh, okay. If they're not surprised, like they tend to like it too, I think.
Yeah, they want it. It's the thing. Audiences, they want the same thing. Because if they didn't, you would see a lot of different things. Audiences actually want the same thing. With the change.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we know that. We know you don't want anything too different. You can't be way out there.
Like Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves from The Matrix into John Wick.
Yeah, exactly. You think it gives you a good feeling to see that. You're like,
familiarity. I like it. Credibility instantly.
Exactly.
Uh,
I like this. Okay, I'm on board. All right.
it's amazing. Yeah, because you think people want different, but they don't, right?
They don't. They do not want different. As much as they tell you they do not. They
And I
want.
love where you see a guy like Daniel Craig did Layer Cake, and he was very much a James Bond. I wonder, if, like, they had to watch that and they were like, he's perfect for the next Bond.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, where they were kind of already doing it.
yeah.
Jeremy Piven, he's always played this like used car salesman guy.
Yeah, easily just
You
kind of.
remember Judgment Night with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Emilio Estevez? Like that was his character, and they were like, "Let's put him in Entourage on HBO." Like I see that, like, because obviously there's a catalogs of actors, and it's like, okay, this is your token, like, um, Queens, New York detective. I don't give a fuck, like, or like the Mark Wahlberg character
In everything.
in everything. What's the one he did with Sheen's dad, Emilio Estevez's dad, and Leonardo was in it.
um, um, the,
Departed. The
Bot-
Departed.
Botted. Yes.
Yeah, Wahlberg, like, like the Southie Boston accent, Irish. I'm a cop now, and we treat everybody like shit. Like,
But you loved it though. It was great. It was great.
yeah, like it's funny how they recycle these guys and just like reuse them. Like, he might as well be the same name, even though it's a different movie.
Yeah, that's right. But he doesn't miss a beat though. If you were just be like, yeah, this is an extension.
Yeah, guys that are always cops, guys that are always like, I don't know, whatever they are.
Like I mean,
There's lawyer types. Like, who was that guy? He passed away. He was in Homeland. He was in Independence Day, and he's like, that's not the sign. He was one of the advisors.
oh no. Oh
Tall white guy, bald.
yeah,
Looks
yeah,
like a
yeah,
teacher,
yeah.
professor. Cast.
Oh,
He passed away like last year.
he's going to come to me.
James Rebhorn. I'll show you a picture of him.
No, I was not thinking that. Wait, James whom?
Yeah, exactly. I love doing that.
Oh, right, the Umbrella Academy. Yeah, with the Umbrella Academy.
You've seen this guy.
Ah, yes. Oh, he passed away?
I think last year, yeah.
Knew that. Um,
Oh, 2014. I'm sorry, that was a while ago. But
oh,
yeah, there's guys like this
2014.
that like I said, like they keep popping up and they're like the typical
Yeah. Oh, wow.
like I said, where's this guy? From the Equalizer, the Boston. Yeah, Arbor. Yeah, you know this guy.
Yeah, okay. Yes. I just saw him in something. Oh, what was it? I can't remember.
So
Stranger Things, right? He was the
I didn't know that, but
yeah, he was the sheriff.
Umbrella Academy.
Yes. This is
this one. Go ahead.
I've been loving this. This is my show that I've just been like we've been watching it season 1, then season 2 we just started. It just came out. Umbrella Academy is a take on the oh my gosh, Resident Evil
Oh, it is?
franchise. Yes. So at the heart of every Resident Evil franchise is the Umbrella Academy, this evil corporation that has nefarious dealings with the townspeople and blah blah blah. That's sort of the
Oh, okay.
always the story, the running story through the Resident Evil games and movies,
Okay.
sort of thing. This show is sort of the origin of this Umbrella Academy corporation, and so you have this eccentric billionaire who adopts these 6 gifted students, and he trains them. He wants them to be superheroes, but things don't really go as planned, and so you see their struggle with coming to terms with who they are, their abilities, and that sort of thing, and basically ruining the world. It's really cool, really fun. I love it. Sorry?
It's being shot. It's shot in Canada?
It is shot in Canada. Season 1, a lot of it shot downtown Hamilton. So cool.
I heard that.
And here's the thing. So I want to. I don't know if you watched The Boys. This was an Amazon series, also about superheroes. Very interesting series. I enjoyed that. Also filmed in Hamilton. So we had these 2 series.
Wow.
One and from huge companies. So Amazon Prime did The Boys, and Netflix did the Umbrella Academy. And huge fan of both these things. I will say the Umbrella Academy for me was a better show. I think the writing was just more crisp. Storyline, story arcs is just, it's based on this property, whatever. But why I enjoy it so much, I get to see parts of Hamilton just blown to smithereens. But it's like when I was younger and into comics and all this, and always fantasizing about superheroes and what it would be like if they existed in this time space reality. This kind of fulfills that whole thing as a kid. Like, yeah, I could be downtown walking and I'd see somebody just blast a building, and that I know that building, and it would be destroyed. And like, it's just very reassuring. I don't know. It's just this, like, the kid inside of it's like
a fantasy.
Yeah, this is amazing. But watching it, watching The Boys, which is again also filmed in Hamilton, it actually pulled me out of the story.
Wow! Okay.
It was still shot in Hamilton. It was still whatever. But I would be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, that bus stop. Yeah, no, I remember that that play. And it just wasn't as satisfying. Bro,
Okay,
I think that speaks
so
to the
both ways.
You would The Boys right there, boom, right there, hilarious.
Someone listening, or are these 2 shows related?
These shows aren't related at all.
I mean, like the story, the content is similar.
No. This is a very
superheroes again, though.
Superheroes again, yes. The dark side of superhero-y stuff. A lot of fun. This show's a lot of fun, but I don't know. It just yeah. I'm not gonna spoil it. I enjoyed it. Whatever. I think The Watchmen was better. It was the same kind of story, but that's my whole whatever.
Great to hear.
But
in your hometown, though.
Actually, the boy, did they have a rating there? Their rating? Did they rate that? IMDb, The Boys.
Oh, okay. Hold on, because I went to the Prime Video.
7. Wow. Okay.
Was it? Did you see it? 7?
It was 8.7 rating.
Oh, here we go.
Interesting.
You don't think so? Do you agree with that?
Oh, there is other. Okay, maybe. I only saw the first season. Maybe because
I don't know any of these. Chase Crawford, I think he's from what's that other show?
Well, I guess I have different tastes. That's fine.
Gossip Girl. Yeah, that's right. I hardly know any of these guys. Carl Urban. What did he do? He looks like he was in Star Trek. He looks like Wolverine.
Yeah, he does. He's got that accent. Well, he's got an accent. He's very interesting.
Like the only one I know from Umbrella Academy is Ellen Page from Inception.
Yeah, it's fun. Another fun show. I gotta say, it's a very interesting show.
Their rating was which?
8. This got an 8. I thought this one would be higher.
8. Oh, okay. Umbrella Academy 8. The
Interesting.
Boys 8.7.
Interesting. Okay? Actually, now I'm curious. Check while you're there. Just check The Watchmen. I just want to see what that series got.
Oh, Men. Watchmen.
Watchmen TV series. Oh, MEN.
Okay, I thought so.
Huh. It could be totally what the
Short or TV episode, I think. This one?
wait, nope, that's not it. Maybe it's just Watchmen? Watchmen? The Watchmen? Other Watchmen? No, that ain't it. That definitely is not it.
How can so many shows have the same?
I know, what the try just Watchmen. There it is. TV miniseries. Oh. That's gotta be at least 8.1. Oh wow!
Fewer reviews.
Interesting. Okay.
Regina King. Okay, yeah.
Okay. I thought this would have been the higher
Power here too.
Yeah. This is some incredible writing. I can't say enough about this show. It's like The Boys. I thought this was a better version of The Boys, but that's just me being a geek. They both. It was this. They're both superheroes. It's the dark side of being superhero, and blah blah blah. I just thought that was executed a lot better. Whatever. I stand corrected. The public thinks otherwise.
I'm gonna go to Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe that's more accurate. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? The Rotten Tomatoes.
What a comeback. Terrific. Thank you. Lots of content today. Amazing. From COVID to parenting, expectations of children and babies, having a second child dynamic, shopping experience, and to movies, of course. So that's a typical podcast and chill episode. It's been great to be back on the horse here.
Yes, absolutely. And I know we have a few to go before you got to take a bit of a hiatus because of that new baby. You're gonna be busy. You're gonna be busy. Oh, yeah.
One day a week, I can't. No, the show must go on.
Absolutely, but you're gonna need a bit of a hiatus. A bit. You're gonna
obviously you're gonna be adjustment. I can't lie.
So. Adjustment is gonna be huge.
But that'll be fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna
back up to that.
Beautiful.
So, let's get as many as we can before though.
Yes. Ah, the incredible, always wonderful, hilarious Neil Quinto. Thank you so much, Mike.
The elegant, the eloquent, the sought after, the dynamic, and the dynamic duo. The Brainiac, Christopher Bernard. Podcast and Chill Show on iTunes, on YouTube, anywhere you listen to podcasts, anywhere you watch. Yes, subscribe us, refer us, send us out, share. Send us comments and ask us.
Yes, we got to do an Ask Me Anything.
AMA.
Yes, we haven't done. Okay, please let's do one.
Let's collect some questions
let's collect questions and do one before a hiatus. I know it's kind of short.
Okay, that'll be a cool concept to do. Beautiful. Okay, until next time, guys. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you
for more. We love you.
We love you.
Salute you. Thank you very much. Have a good night.